so welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we are taking a look at something quite special, and something I'm very excited for. This is probably the biggest game, well, it is the biggest game I own. It might be one of the biggest war games out there, volumetrically and size-wise. And it is called War Room. This is a game that's designed by Larry Harris, and it's published by Nightingale games. So we have, this is the base game, War Room, up here, and then this is the Jumbo expansion. And Nightingale contacted us recently because they're putting, I believe they're coming out with, this is going back, they're reprinting it, I believe, on Kickstarter soon. So they offered to ship us a copy with the expansion, which we'll get this played at some point, probably later on in the year. But there's a couple of smaller scenarios in it, so I just wanted to let you know that whilst this is a game that is very expensive and kind of hard to get a hold of, there will be opportunities to get a hold of it soon. So I wanted to get that out of the way. We'll take a look at the base game first, and then we'll get into the Jumbo expansion, which has just a lot of like extras and fun bits and pieces in it, basically. So the base game. And this is, it's 70 centimeters by 30 centimeters, and it's 13 centimeters deep, so, and it weighs, I think combined, both of these boxes weighed 25 pounds. I mean, it was just, this is a monster. Real quick, in the package there also came a set of stickers, for like the Chinese faction. I don't know if this replaces markings that are already on the board. I'm not entirely sure about this, but there's a whole bunch of, everything's annotated, so I think we're going to put stickers on different bits and pieces, so it's a more accurate flag. And then there's also a little baggie, which has some, like, these little submarine and sunken convoy tokens. These are very thick cardboard, and there's a couple other bits in here. I don't know if this is errata pieces or just extra pieces, but there was also some little business card with some advertising for Larry's new game, which is a Napoleonics one, which is coming to Kickstarter in 2021 apparently. So that was just some extras that were loose in the box, so we'll see kind of how those play in later probably. Okay, so this is a very nice box. It's kind of got that matte finish to it. It is, and the box, I will say, is very, very sturdy. The cardboard, as it should be, is very thick. If I can get it off. Okay. So it's got good structure to it. It is a heavy game, and they did not cheap out on like the cardboard that was used, like the old, third edition Twilight Imperium. I felt like the cardboard the box was so thin for all that stuff in it. It just bowed and dented really easily. This is not that. Okay. So the first thing we've got is a rule book here, and the rules are, for a game this size, 25 scenarios, 25 pages of rules. So, and the reality is, this looks like, it's a modern rulebook, but look at how many pictures and diagrams there are. The reality is this is not a game that is going to be, hopefully, complicated to learn, mechanically speaking. There are some scenarios in it, so we'll get to a couple of these. So, you've got the 6-player game overall. Then we've got there's a 3-player, the 5-player variant, 3-player variant, and you can play with any number of players. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. You just would combine alliances and axes powers basically. But there is a dedicated 2-player scenario that's just like the East Front map basically. It's like the whole of Russia, so. You can play this with any number of player counts, so that's actually very good to know. We're going to try to get this at max players at some point later on in the year when it's reasonable to do so, but we shall see. Okay, so let's look. We have the map here, so these are big jigsaw pieces, and there's a bunch of kind of packaging inserts, which we'll toss those. Okay, we're gonna have to move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay, so these are shrink wrapped, which is nice. So everything's gonna be well protected. Let's see if I can't open these without going and get some scissors. Pieces. No, gotta get the scissors. Okay. Be careful opening these. I like that they didn't just put them in loose, because these would, some of these are kind of odd shaped. They're the width of the box, but not necessarily the length of it, so they'd kind of slide around in there, so this helps to keep them protected from sliding and stuff. So, okay, does this fold? Yes. And there's all sorts of folding and tessellations to get these in the box. But basically, the way that this game is set up is, it's a massive, big circle of a top-down view of the world. In the center would be the Arctic Circle, which there's like there's a little kind of a turn track. We'll show you that here in a second. That's on these ones. But everything fits together. That's one of the things that's in the Jumbo expansion, and we'll get to that here in a bit. Is that instead of having these kind of like jigsaw pieces, they have a big a big neoprene mat. Okay, so how is everything going together to fit? Okay, I think these go here, and these go here. All right. So just as an indication, that's so this, it's even off camera, but that's like at the bottom of my bottom of my table, and these go up here, and they're like way off the top of not only the camera but the table. But as you can see, it's kind of this, it's like a top-down view of the world. So you've kind of got Russia here, and you go down to China and the Pacific. Over here you've got Europe, Africa, and then we've got North America, and then South America's just down here. And then in the center, where you would have the Arctic Circle, there's an inlay, which is, we'll get to that here in a second. It has, I think it has like a turn track and some bits and pieces on it as well. But as you can see, this is, it's obviously, it's a grand strategy game, you know, in the vein of things like Cataclysm or Axis and Allies, in a sense where you're taking over, basically, it's countries, and so you're moving stacks of units, and they all have either rail connections or different types of borders that you can and can't go through. So there's a lot of that stuff to consider. There's a whole bunch of numbers here. I think the R1 is a reference to this is part of Russia, and there's divided up like this 14, 16, 17 Russia spaces. Those are for reference, but then you get these 3, 2, 2, 1. Those are probably values that are going to help you with your economy or points or things like that. I'm not quite sure. So big map. That's why I say we're going to play this later on in the year. This is like a convention special almost, just from a size perspective. Because I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. If you want to play just that 2-player East Front one, I believe you can do it with just these two. You might miss Kamchatka over here, but I will have to figure that out as to if we can squeeze just this on a table for space for that 2-player scenario. Okay. Let's get those out of the way. Alright. Back to the box. Alright. We have a bunch of these, and whilst the map is big, you need even more space on top of that. Like with a lot of these games, there's a lot of auxiliary bits and pieces like player mats and stuff. These are these tracks. They have these little fold-up pieces, and you stack. I think it's cards. You stack things in these. This is like a holder for those. And you see each of these, it has different nations on them. So we've got here Italy and Russia and Germany and America. There's a couple of black ones. I don't know if those are extras. So this is originally when they printed the game. This is the China one, and that's why they gave you that set of extra stickers, so you'd get the traditional, at least historically contemporary flag going on. I think we got Japanese here as well. But these, you fold those up and they help some bits and pieces stand up, I believe. And we have, this is kind of like a play aid sheet, so this is what the actual map would look like. That's just for reference on the back. So you've got, here we've got some reference these are basically played cards, but they're really thick cardboard so that you can kind of have them out. The writing on them is very large, so that most people could read that fairly easily, which is nice. So yeah, combat and ops, probably where there's a lot of crunch and detail going on there. And then just a phase, step-by-step, kind of going through it here. Oh, here's the centerpiece. This is the centerpiece for the map. So you have your start, you'll do your homeland phase, and then you'll work through all of these different statuses as you progress through the war. So I get it, which again is very much like Cataclysm, or even Unconditional Surrender has things like that as well, where as you get further into the war, as you commit more resources, or as more of your land gets taken, and there's economic and political repercussions, and that will affect resources that you get, all this kind of stuff. And as you go into collapse, and your nation's going to go into mass desertions, things get real bad. But you have your little turn order track here as well. There's 7th. Can you play this with 7? Maybe you can play this with 7 now. Interesting. Okay. Then we have... okay, we got this big insert. Alright. Plastic band. Don't need you. Alright, so these are little... I say little. These are cardboard boxes, which in theory have units in them. Yes, they do. Okay. And so these are all divided up, so we've got... Alright. What have we got here? Okay, so we have armor and artillery, and these are just storage boxes, I would presume. And so in these, you have baggies, and we'll get these out. And so these are generic counters. Oh, if I can pull them apart. These are plastic with and they've got the little tank symbol printed on them. These are really nice. These are kind of like small plastic Scrabble tiles. And there's a bunch of those, and as you can see, they are stackable, so that you can move these stacks around without knocking them over. That's very nice. We have little blue artillery ones. So, and those, the land units are little square pieces, like ground forces. You see the infantry, they're yellow. There's an unbelievable amount of infantry, because everyone's going to use these and then have them march with their own nations. Those are very, very nice, though. But yeah, these are storage. Maybe we will keep those rubber bands, because we don't want those popping open. The aircraft, so we've got fighters and bombers. These are circle pieces. Okay, let's just open these for fun. We'll probably end up using a lot of these in the Battle of Britain, and then in the Pacific, I would imagine. There are far, far fewer bombers than the fighters, so just probably as an indication of what the combat's going to look like. But yeah, you get nice little symbols engraved on those. These are very, very nice. Again, stackable. And then we've got, okay, let's close those. And then we have naval stuff. Oh, there's a whole bunch more down there. Okay. Alright, so there's a bunch of different subdivisions in the naval stuff. With the yellow, we have here, these are submarines. And these are more, they're irregular hexagon shaped, which look really nice. You got a little submarine on those. The blue ones, there's more of these. And these look like they're, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and say that these are cruisers. They probably don't have destroyers at this size. So the blue ones are cruisers. The green ones, these are flat tops. We got aircraft carriers. Aircraft carriers, those are neat. You get nice, those are nicely detailed, which I appreciate. And then the red ones are our battleships. These are the big guns. Not very many of them. Well, I mean, there is, but there's probably a third or half the amount of battleships than the cruisers, which is accurate, but just that's what you're getting. So those are the generic pieces, and I think these act as multipliers. So I think you'd have your own one, and then you have a stack of those underneath. This is how many of those I've got, which is very much like Axis now, I think. So, again, space creep. Table creep. You need a lot of space for this. So here we've got our morale board, and so you've got all your various casualties listed on it. and this tells you their casualty value per unit. So losing a battleship or a carrier is much worse than losing some infantry, just from a resources and manpower standpoint. And I guess once you start losing enough, this is your global/East Front thresholds. I don't know if after you take a certain number of losses, you know, the attrition starts to wear on you, things get real bad. Casualty to stress conversion. So the more casualties you get, the more stress you have. And I think each nation has a stress threshold, and once you meet that threshold, I don't know if that campaign is kind of finished and over. Not good. I believe that's how that works. And there's a reverse side. Is that okay, this is Europe/Pacific. This is global/East Front. So if you're playing the global scenario, use this board. That small little two-player East Front scenario, this board. If you're doing the Europe or Pacific ones, you use this board. So the values are the same, maybe the thresholds are different. I'm not quite sure what's different about those, but I'm sure there is. Okay, that's one of the many boards in here. Okay, alright. So here we have another board. Okay, how many of these are there? Okay, there's 2 of these. I'm not really sure. What are these? Are these further? No. Okay. So you have these, a lot of different unit status. This is Axis commands and Allied commands. Axis commands, are these the same? Or are these for the individual scenarios? Because they're dual-sided as well. Allied commands. I am not 100% sure on these. Or if you have these 2 are different. Well, that's something I'll have to figure out. But it looks like we're tracking a lot of different combat stuff on here. And tactical situations. Not sure about it. So we do have a bunch of stickers here. And I think this... Okay. This is where I was... out of my depth. There's so much stuff in here, it's kind of crazy. Okay. So I think this is where we start to get into the individual different nations. And each nation will have a set of their own counters onto which you will put your stickers. So this is, you know, these are my Italian naval units. And underneath those, you'll stack the generic naval units to indicate a multiplier of, this isn't just 1, this is 5 naval units here, for example. So I think we're going to have to, we got 2 sheets of stickers here. And again, let me pull those up just so that we can be reminded of those. They replaced these little yellow flag, red star ones with the traditional, well, not traditional, but the contemporary Chinese ones at the time. So we're going to use these instead of these, I believe. Again, all the different naval markings for all the different factions. So we have green, probably US. Other green, different US. Okay, let's match up the colors. So this kind of bright green goes with the Americans. That's what I'm saying. This kind of off green looks like it goes with the Italians. We have like kind of a... Well, that's hard to say. Is this a grey? No, this is a grey. We're going to stick the grey with the Germans. We're going to do orange, and there is a lot of orange, with the Japanese. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to go... the UK Commonwealth have these kind of tan ones. And the Russians, we're going to have brown. Is there a brown one somewhere? Oh, one of my poor Russians there. Oh, they're right here. Okay. A lot of land and air units. So that means the last one we have, this is China again. We're going to stick those stickers on this box to make it a little bit better. Looks like we've got these kind of white, I don't know if they just didn't have yellow at the time. So we've kind of got these white ones here for them. Now, these boxes, you can store all of those units that you stick it in here, and the others, you can split up with different pegs and markers as well. But on top of that, you also have this little peg board, and the peg board shows your oil, iron, and I don't know what OSR is. I don't know. But you've got, this is where you're tracking your resources on here. So again, you get that whole economy aspect of this game as well. But those also act as a storage box. Not bad. We also have a number of these pads. One for each nation. and we'll just look at one of these. These pads have your movement operations in them, your military production, and I don't know if you use multiple of these in each game, or if you just use one and you can play it a whole bunch of times, but everyone's got one of those to write their stuff in. And Sin, Kingdom of Italy, Imperial Japan, Germany. That's kind of neat. The Axis ones are a different color from the Allied ones. I don't know if you can see that. These are kind of a blue, like a more blue hue to them, and these are a more brown. Okay. Bunch of those. Alright, so now we're getting into... What's nice is I don't have to punch a bunch of cardboard. So it looks like this is a bunch of stress, and I don't know if these are points or money. So these are really, I mean, this is like some of the thickest cardboard I've ever seen in my life. So a bunch of tokens here for civilian goods. Oh, and those flip over, so we've got goods and maybe money. We've got those stress tokens, big stress tokens there. We've got, again, these are some markers. We've got some arrows, and we've got some air units, but those are iconed differently. I don't know if maybe those are air bases, maybe. We have a bunch of strategic bombing markers, it looks like, and then a bunch of factory markers. And then we have in here what I would presume are control markers. There's a whole bunch for each different nation. As you conquer territories, that's usually what that kind of thing is, for placing those out. Then we do have a set of black counters. I wonder if those are for neutral countries. Maybe. I don't know. And then we also have a set of dice. And these are custom D12s. They have coloured symbols on them. I don't quite know if we use those in resolution of combat or not. I genuinely have no idea. I haven't read the rules yet. Okay. Let's down into it. Okay. So we have in here, I hope are those pegs. Yes, they are. Okay, good. Alright. So on here we have some, these are little, like, gem stars. No idea what to do with those. Maybe those are medals, because I know on that stress track we had these medals. Or maybe they're commanders. I don't know. We have a series of wooden blocks which have these explosions on them, or this other symbol, which I do not know what it is either. But there's a whole bunch of space. This little box is divided up. But we do have one thing I don't know how it is. These are those coloured pegs, and those will go into these spots. There's red, blue, and yellow. Red, blue, and yellow. And there's a couple of white ones as well. Who knows? So that's in that. Okay. Couple pieces of polystyrene. Don't need those. And the last thing we've got here is a deck of cards, which he says... Where did I put it? Here we go. Let's get me scissors out. We've got a deck of these small Fantasy Flight sized little playing cards. And these look like they are corresponding to every space on the board. So we've got Eastern United States, Central United States, all of those, Sardinia, and they're divided up into countries. So I don't know if you're going to draw the... No, Leningrad. Not really sure if you just keep those when they're captured as an easy reference for what their resource values are, because it has all their values on as well. So there's Rhodesia. But there's a whole bunch of those, one for every space on the board, it looks like. And that is everything just in the base game. Okay. Alright, let's get out the expansion. Okay. Alright. I'm ready. There is not as much stuff in this one. So, this is bonus added extras, basically. Oh, okay. Alright. So we have here a set of these Okay. These are... I don't know if you can see. Let me catch the light. These are high gloss, very thick cardboard player boards. And these you use in replacement of these little sheets. So instead of having to write down everything with a pen and pencil, you can, if you want to, get some dry erase markers and use those on here instead if you wanted to. Again, this jumbo pack is stuff that's optional extras. So we have here a very, very large neoprene mat. Here, we're going to whip it out, who cares? And it's just a single piece instead of that jigsaw, but you also, you don't have to lay it all out flat. Okay. I'm probably going to regret this. Okay. It's very, very nice. The printing on it is exceptionally crisp, which is exactly what you would want. This is probably what I would roll up and take to a convention. Just because it makes it, you just whip it out, that's just easier, I think. Okay. I'll put that away. Oh no. Okay. Oh, there's so much stuff. Okay. We also have another set of dice, and I think these are just extras. They're actually a slightly different color than the originals. Is that true? Yeah, it is. So these are, there's more of these custom D12s, and the original ones are a slightly darker grey. Can the camera already pick that up? Maybe. These are a slightly darker grey. These are a lighter grey. Does that matter? Probably not. It's just more dice. Because if there's 6 of you sat around a table, you'll only be passing around sharing dice. So that'll be nice there. I like this a lot. You get a set of, and these are packaged on their own, a little set of drinks coasters, little placemats. These are just like they're kind of a neoprene with a more of a hard mouse pad top on them. Yeah, you can put it out, put your drink on it if that's what you're inclined to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, one for each player. We have a nice bag which has the War Room logo printed on it. I wonder if that's for storage or if you actually use that for something. I don't know. And then we have here this box which is used for protecting these. Oh, I've forgotten what these are for. I even looked it up online because I think these are for you putting a dice in or something like that. They serve a game purpose, and they do help with ease of use. I think it's to do with the dice. Okay, and the last thing we've got here, and this is kind of one of those hilariously awesome items, especially with a game this big. So here we have, and you get 6 of them in now, if you can see this. So 6 of these, and these are long wooden poles with a little pusher on the end. Obviously it's not called a pusher, that's just me being ignorant. But yeah, you've got your stacks of units on the board, and you want to move from one country to another, and you want to feel like you're at fighter command. You push them around, and then you talk to the relay people on the phones. It's just, I don't know. We'll see if this actually assists with leaning over a very large board with lots of stacks and knocking stuff over, or if you can just boop, boop, boop. But yeah, there's 6 of those, so everyone gets one of those, so you can play War Room and feel like you are a Supreme Allied Commander in your War Room doing strategic things, which is neat, right? This kind of game, you're in it for probably sitting down for a whole day to play this thing. It takes half the day to set it up. And then you're, getting some friends together, having some good food and drink, and playing War Room, right? You are a general, you're doing all of this stuff, taking out basically the entirety of World War II. So there's an awful lot. This is maybe one of the longest unboxings of all time. So this is War Room by Nightingale Games. Again, you will have the opportunity to pick this up soon because it is it's going to be made available once again. I don't know if it's a new edition or if they're just reprinting it. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this is very exciting, and these games, they're just fun, right? It's not the kind of game that's like the crunchiest simulation, although I'm sure there has been a lot of research that's gone into this and like balancing and stuff. But you sit down and it's an experience, right? You play the thing and it's enjoyable, and I'm hoping that we can get this to the table with lots of people, and it's a great way to, I don't know, enjoy a war game together over an extended period that isn't just looking at charts and numbers. You know, you get a full experience out of this thing, and it's something very different. We're gonna play the 2-player, so you'll see a review of that probably sooner rather than later. And then at some point we'll get a big game of people together, and we will play this, and we will let you know how the grand campaign is. But this is War Room from Nightingale Games. It is available secondhand. Sure, you can probably find it on the market. It's very expensive, but if you can hold off, they are doing a re-release. So watch out for that coming soon. But thanks for sticking through. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.